everybody, and welcome to RezoCast episode 160. This is Lego, aka Jumpmaster Trash Can, here with Hov76, and that's it.
AKA YouTuber extraordinaire.
AKA, yeah, that's what I should have said. Dang, missed opportunity. Well, yeah, it's just us this week here on RezoCast. If you're new to the show, we're a Destiny-based podcast out of the clan Team Resolute. We have guests on from the community most weeks. This week, it's just me and Hov here to talk about all the things going on in Destiny this week and in gaming. You know, like Destiny's got a big gaming thing happening this week. We're talking about all the controversy between the Vex Offensive, the Final Assault, and Stadia, and Hov's YouTube channel. Like, we'll talk about all the controversial things.
Are you saying my YouTube channel is controversial?
Yeah.
This is coming from the guy who just told me he was turning off his vibrator before the show.
On my phone.
But is that what you said at first?
That's exactly what I said.
I said...
You said things.
Lego, are you turning off your vibrator? And you said, actually, Hov, that's exactly what I'm doing. That's how that happened.
I don't think it would sound exactly like that.
That's pretty much word for word. It'll be in the bloopers.
Well, as you can tell, we like to joke around a bit. If you listen to the podcast version, if you never listened all the way through, there are bloopers normally at the end, so it's worth sticking around. But if you like to stick around and hang with us even more, we have a Discord channel now where we can hang out, talk about Destiny, get the LFG going for Stadia because, you know, tons of people are still trying to get in, but me and Hov have been messing around with it, and so I'm excited to talk about that today. Man, there's so much going on, mainly with Stadia. I feel like that's like the big thing right now, but also the Final Assault is built really big, and then the TWAB released a huge subclass change reveal, basically, for what's coming next season with all the solar classes. So there's a lot going on this week. But Hov, to start it off, how was your week, man?
It's been busy.
And don't you dare say it was dumb, because that's not acceptable.
Dumb. It's been busy. I didn't play too much Destiny on... Well, no, I did, actually. I played some PvP. And then I messed around on Stadia a little bit today on Destiny, which we'll just wait till the Stadia talk to get into that.
Yeah.
But just getting busy with work and eating moonshine pickles and... Yeah.
Nice.
Nothing too exciting. My life is boring. I am boring.
I feel like mine, even in gaming, hasn't been super exciting this week. Like, I feel like the main thing I was doing was chasing Black Armory stuff at first.
Actually, both of us.
Yeah.
We got back into Apex Legends this weekend.
I just thought about that as soon as I was saying. I was like, it's been kind of boring, but just because I've been chasing Black Armory stuff. But yeah, we jumped into Apex Legends for the first time in forever.
Yeah, because they had duos this... I don't know how long it's been out. It was a limited time event. It's gone now, so we've just been playing two people unless we can get Dewey to jump in with us. But duos was actually a lot of fun. I liked the way duos played in that. I still like that game. I don't really know why we quit playing.
Yeah, I think it's just like whenever Destiny comes with a new expansion with all its content, that's kind of like the console game you end up playing. But then when there's a lull, Apex is a real easy one to jump to because it's 60 frames per second. It feels so smooth. You can't really forget the controls because it's so intuitive. Like the game and the buttons to do stuff, everything's just exactly what you want it to do. It just works the way you want it to, which is one thing that made you fall in love with the game to begin with. But it was
feels very great. Polished when it came out. Like everything felt really good.
Yeah, so that's been fun. Yeah, I agree. It has been fun to go back to that, especially. I feel like I needed a PUBG break for a bit, and so it was nice. Which they just came out with an update. That's another thing
that I haven't played yet. That update, actually, speaking of being polished and working well, one of the big things on that, one of them is the spike strips coming, which will be fun to see how they work out. But one of the big things is the auto switching attachments.
Yes.
So if you have a barrel with the barrel with a barrel attachment, a grip, and a mag and a sight, and you swap it for an M4. All those things will go onto your new gun. If they don't go on that gun, they'll go in your inventory. If your inventory is full, then they'll drop. But that was something that... it's funny, that game's been out for how long? And literally in the last month, I finally was like, what's the button? Like, what's the key binding to just take all the attachments off at once? And I just learned that, like, last month.
Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, Alt right click just drops all your attachments, so you can just drop them, switch guns, and put them back on.
That's nice.
So of course I'm PUBG was like, well, Hov figured it out, so let's fucking change it.
Well, that is one thing that drove me crazy about PUBG, just like tagging on to that, because the console version, surprisingly, when it first released, had this feature, and so did the mobile game.
To be fair, I think they had to.
Yeah, they had to have it. And so it's nice to see the PC version finally, for, it's the only thing basically like the console and mobile version had that the actual PC version didn't. So it's nice to see them get that treatment. Yeah, I'm excited to try it again. Maybe, I think it's a fun game. It's not that like I stopped playing because I hated the game or anything like that.
Yeah,
it's just
I don't know why we quit, really.
Well, for me, it's just I just need breaks sometimes. Like I just need like a break from a game every once in a while. It just kind of rejuvenates it when you come back. Just like Apex, like I stopped playing for a little bit, came back. It's great. Just like
that's
Destiny.
what I was talking about. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I was talking about PUBG still too. But yeah, Destiny's the same way, like towards the end of a season, it's easy to take a break, but it's also easy for me. And it's kind of nice too, that there's so many small PvE things to chase right now. And I've said it before, but Black Armory stuff. Oh, that's something huge that happened this week. So last week I mentioned it in the TWAB, they hinted at, the Escalation Protocol armor, getting like basically some love to where you can get it to drop easier. Cause right now you have, with Escalation Protocol, if you want Armor 2.0 version of that armor, if you like the way it looks or something like that, you have one chance a week to get it to drop. And if you've gotten all the gear before, it just drops randomly. So every week you may get arms, and that's what you'll get every week, and you'll just be stuck with it. And that's, your RNG to get what you want is awful, and then to get the element you want is awful. And so I lucked out because it's my third week to do it, and I got the Titan Mark to drop, which was exactly what I wanted, because it's the one piece of armor 2.0 you can get from anywhere in the system, and it doesn't have stats associated with it. So if you just like the way it looks, you can grab that. And I got it to drop, and I was like, no way.
That's what I do. Like the way something looks, I just grab it.
No. Don't do that, Hov.
Oh.
with Armor 2.0, you could do that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, what did you think I meant?
You better.
Dirty old man.
We're gonna have a talk after the episode.
Probably will.
So yeah, that was great. That I got that to drop. That was exciting, especially before the change. But now it's kind of like we've talked about this before on the show, Hov. But like exclusivity with items in the game, it's kind of nice when something's rare, because then when you get it to drop, you're like, oh, I have this thing. I almost threw my pen just now. You like, oh, you have this thing that you like is special to you because it took you forever to get it and nobody else really has it. But now that they're going to make the change, it was a rare drop, and now it might not be in a few weeks, and it's going to be like, oh, dang.
Not speaking of that in particular, but that made me think of something that I want to ask you.
Yeah.
So with the way that they're doing, and I know it's been mostly geared towards content, but they're doing things that, they said they can't keep building on the game forever.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be a lot of this content is going to be there for that season, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
How would you handle, and how do you feel about like items being that way? Like, do they need to be really, really rare and hard to get if they're only going to be around for a little bit? Because there's a couple ways you could go about it. You could say this item's permanent and really hard to get. Okay, you could say this item's temporary for the season and really, but there's a lot of them. Maybe not even a lot, but like you had to have played during that time. Or you could make things that are really hard to get and are still only going to be around for that season. Like, what's your thought on that?
Oh, you bring up something really interesting that I had never thought of. Like, there's a certain area of this that I want to talk about, but I'll approach it as a whole real quick, because I think this is a good question. And to me, my answer, I'm going to go into it even further in a second, but to me, off the top of my head, I'm like, oh, I think that probably for the majority of the community, it would work really well for there to be like ornaments and shaders and like, emblems, stuff like that. That's really hard to get. That's only around for a little bit, and that's okay. And even for weapons to be that way, but not like the best weapons maybe, or something like that. Like that would be kind of difficult for there to be an exotic that you could never get again.
Well,
like,
I don't think the community
would have a hard time.
I don't know that it would be an exotic. Normally with exotics, if the like event they were tied to ends, it just goes into the loot pool.
Yeah. Well, let me and so that was my first thought is I was like, oh, it should be like that. But then I caught myself in a problem that I have this season in that way of thinking.
Is
And
it that rash
is,
you were talking about?
and
Oh, were we not supposed to talk about that? Sorry.
yeah, that's a flagrant foul, Hove. You're not allowed to bring that up. So my point to all this is, so Vex Offensive, a lot of people have been, and me even somewhat, have been disappointed with. I'm not going to go into the final assault necessarily yet, but I don't really play the Vex Offensive because there's nothing in there for me. Any of those weapons you can get as drops from the Vex invasion on the moon.
Right.
I don't think there's anything you can get that's just in the Vex Offensive. And so that, and I could see, as I was saying, well, the Vex Offensive is a seasonal content thing, right? Like, it's going to go away. So there's nothing in there that you can't get somewhere else weapon wise, And so I was like,
well,
wait,
aren't those things going to go away too?
They might. I don't know, but what do you mean? What things?
So,
Like those weapons?
the Vex invasion on the moon.
Oh, you're right. Maybe they will. But even still, none of those weapons are like great like, I don't chase any of those weapons. I chase Eris's weapons. Like, those are ones that I'm like, ooh, yeah, like there's stuff in here to get. But the Vex offensive weapons, I don't really like any of them. Maybe there's like one pulse rifle people are looking for that they think's good, but overall there's nothing crazy like interesting or anything really interesting. There's no reason to go and do the Vex offensive other than to get your weekly tier 3 or whatever it is from Ikora. And so I've caught myself in a loop here because I just said the reason why there's probably not interesting things in there, but that keeps me from playing the content. Like, I don't even want to play it now. So I feel like there should be something that's exclusive because then I might play it. That's the reason I'm doing Black Armory right now, is because I want that ship.
I mean, I definitely think that there should be stuff that's exclusive to that season. I'm okay with that. My question was more just, if they do that, do you think that they should kind of balance that out by making it really easy? Not even really easy to get, but like, if you play it, you're going to probably get it. Or, and obviously the answer is probably some mix of all of them.
Yeah, it's both. Yeah.
But, don't you think it would also be cool? And I get what you were saying with guns, but the problem with not really good guns is if they're not the really good guns, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
maybe like, whether it's a shader or an ornament or whatever that is really rare and it's going to go away with the season. So like, you're still going to have people complain, but I think that'd be cool to have something in there that
me too.
You aren't guaranteed to get, and then it's gone.
I wish there was more of that, honestly. Like, I feel like it pushes you to play, like in take PUBG or Apex, or really PUBG is the main one I think of because I'm not as familiar with how Apex works, but they have the seasonal stuff that you
all
like.
Pretty much the same.
Okay, well, most games that have seasons are like that. There's like stuff that you get, and a lot of it's really cool, and it's for that season. You get the thing, and you can never get it again. Destiny, on the other hand, has a habit of stuff that's around for a little bit eventually comes back around as, oh, look at these year 1 things from Eververse you can get now, or whatever. It's not just you had to be there. But Luke Smith specifically said, in this the big last video update they did for Shadowkeep coming up, they were like, we wanted to have you had to be there moments. Now, they might have been talking about the Vex portal. They might have been talking about the event itself, but I would love for there to be gear or emblems or shaders even associated with that. That's like, oh, look how cool that guy looks. Well, you had to be there. You had to be there to get that thing. It doesn't, maybe they couldn't do it with guns because that would be hard to balance, but with flare, that would be nice to see.
Did you say flume?
No, flare.
Oh.
That's so cheap.
I was gonna use flume with my question about your rash. And then I was like, maybe that's a little much.
That's pushing it. So those who don't know, we play a game called Word Insertion where we give each other words that we have to try to fit into the conversation here, and we try to do it discreetly, but usually not. It's usually not discreet.
No.
For the better. But that's an interesting question, Hov. I'm glad you brought that up.
Like I said, I'm sure the answer is, as with a lot of things, is some combination of all of them.
Yeah.
I just feel like the least likely one is really rare stuff that's only around for a little bit, because that's just like not the Destiny way of doing things.
Yeah. Well, that kind of leads into the conversation about the final assault that happened this week, which there's a lot of,
Doesn't it sound like a
I guess,
90s Schwarzenegger movie? The Final Assault.
maybe.
Like Last Action Hero, The Final
Speaking of,
Assault.
you should watch Dark Fate Terminator if you haven't seen it yet. Oh, that was really good.
I don't care.
I didn't care either, and then I saw it and I was like, wow, that was pretty good.
I don't care.
So Final Assault. It disappointed a lot of people. There's been a lot of stuff like this where something happens and everybody's disappointed, like everybody's real hyped up. And I think people had a right to be hyped up, but I also think like it's not done. And to me, my interpretation of what happened was I was like, this is literally exactly what Ikora said we were going to do, and now we're doing it. Like she said at the beginning of the season, we're going to build this thing and we're going to bring out the Undying Mind and we're going to kill it over and over again thousands of times. And everybody loved that line of Ikora saying, we're going to go in there and, you know, beat it so many times that it's forced to give up, basically.
That's what I say on the weekends.
And everybody cheered at that line. They were like, yeah, this is great. And now that we're doing it, everybody's like, this is it. This is dumb. Like, why are we just, you know, killing? Like, it's exactly the same. We just shoot this thing, which I get it. A mission would have been nice. Something different would have been nice, but that could still happen. Like, we have to kill this thing a bunch of times together in different timelines until it opens up the next season. That's what Ikora said was going to happen, or a combination of Bungie saying that and Ikora. But, you know, like this is kind of expected for me. But given we've had little story bits from Eris and, you know, the Queen, the way that her stuff developed, it kind of felt like there would be some bigger story thing. So I get why people are disappointed for that. But I just don't think there's people. This is what bothers me, okay? Because that disappointment doesn't bother me. I get that. They've set up expectations. What bothers me
is boxer briefs.
No. What bothers me is how people are like, man, this is the Vex Offensive, or this is the Final Assault. This season wasn't worth this. You know, this expansion wasn't worth it. And it's like, really, like you're basing everything off of this thing, you know, and that's ridiculous to me. Like, I get it was disappointing. Like, but I never liked the Vex Offensive really to begin with. It's all the other like updates to the season, updates to Destiny, quality of life stuff, and the different weapons that I'm chasing, and all the new gear, and even the season pass. Like, the season pass has been a huge hit for me as far as leveling up. I finally reached rank 100. Got my sword emote, which looks awesome. Like, I love all the stuff with the season pass, and it felt good. Like, it felt like I progressed towards that. And even now that I'm done with it, my artifact is still giving me +1 light level every once in a while. I'm still getting bright engrams every once in a while from leveling up. So there's still incentive to play. So I really like how they incorporated it all. I feel like they did a really good job with it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree, especially with your thing that, like, because this one thing wasn't good, that the whole... And it's fine to be disappointed in the Vex Offensive, the Final Assault, whatever. Like, a lot of people are, but yeah, I'm with you. I mean, especially when it's the people that were happy the whole time until that happens, and then they're just like, this is stupid. Like, if you didn't like it the whole time, fine. If you didn't like that event, fine. But to be like, this is cool, this is cool, this is cool. Oh, this whole thing was stupid. Like... Come on. I mean, we already had, like, honestly, if you look at it, I guess it's not wrong to have expected something like bigger, but if you look at it, we had, you know, the Vex Offensive was like I don't want to say weekly thing, but like kind of the world activity, like ongoing thing. You had the raid, you had a small campaign, you had like story stuff happening. You know, there were all these little things happening the whole time. It wasn't like there was no... It was just a campaign building to this one thing, and then it was disappointing. Like, there were a lot of things that went on. And I'll still circle back. We might even mention this later. I'll probably mention this I don't know how many times. They still said from the get-go, like, this is, like, the starting point. This is the first season of these changes. It's going to be small steps. I don't remember the exact way they said it, but they said, like, next season will include more of this, this, and this. The next season will take you even further. And it was, like, the third or fourth season, they were like, that's when...
It all comes together.
We plan on like the story in the game really hitting its stride.
Yeah, no, totally. And I'm excited for next season. Season of the Dawn, I think, is what they mentioned it was going to be called.
Season of the Dong.
Dawn.
I'm ready for next season.
Yeah, I got its adjustment later. We'll talk about that. But yeah, as far as Undying Mind and all that stuff, like people were joking around about getting a Mago loop drop, so that didn't help either because people were expecting that, or getting trolled online at least. And but I did like the way the portal showed up in the final assault, to bring out the Undying Mind. That was all really cool. The sound effects were cool. I just don't like the Vex Offensive, so I was kind of like, oh, cool. I experienced it once, and I'm kind of done with it. Oh, one thing I want to add on to my week though that I got to mess around with in the Undying Mind and some other places too is I got the like God roll sword from Black Armory because I'd kind of been like looking around like wasn't there something, and I kind of remembered back in the day people were like this sword you got to grind for it because it comes with surrounded, and you can get back then Ada came out with those new Black Armory mods, and there was a surrounded one that makes your surrounded perk last longer and do more damage. Or I think the Rampage one lasts longer. Surrounded just does more damage.
So it was like it was kind of like Viagra for surrounded.
Does more? No.
Makes it last longer.
It makes that's it more Rampage.
Potent. It makes it more potent.
So but it's like legit an awesome sword. Like I'm not that into swords, but now that the Bubble Titan is back, now you can use the Bubble Titan and put down the weapons of light. You get weapons of light, and then you've got the overshield around whatever boss you're around, and then you've got a sword. So even if they kick you back a bit, you can kind of sword forward a little bit. You got surrounded going. I also got the perk that does whenever it's like I can't remember, assassins something. Whenever you kill something, then it gives you more extra
blade.
Yeah, maybe. And so that gives you extra damage. Surrounded's giving you extra damage. You got impact all the way. Weapons of light is stacked on top of that. Plus, if you throw down a grenade, a void grenade, it gives you the extra stack from your artifact. And you just like, I don't know if you remember the way you grind out the Black Armory stuff is there's a lost sector that you go to on Mars, and there's a wanted ad in there. I can kill him in 2 sword strikes. Like that's it. It's just like whoop whoop dead.
What is it like? That sounded like 2 fusion shots.
It did kind of. I get mixed up between other weapons and fusions. Now it all kind of blends together.
I don't know what the mods are. I don't know what this button does. What am I doing? Why am I on this podcast?
Why am I even making this video? So yeah, I got that sword, and that has been awesome. It's been fun to like go back with the new Armor 2.0, find weapons with that mix well with the artifact, with new things that they're adding like weapons of light, and that kind of gets me excited for the subclass changes that are coming in the TWAB, which we'll get to because who knows what next artifact we're gonna get that will completely change the PvE sandbox. You know,
this is true. We shall see.
But yeah, I'm enjoying PvE. It's been fun. I don't, like I said, Vex Offensive isn't really my thing, but there's lots of other content that I've really been enjoying. Last week I talked about the 980 Nightfall, and that was fun. But this week it's more like just optimizing my loadout to kind of play the way that I want to play. So when I went into the Vex Offensive, I took my sword, my weapons of light, and I almost just slayed the final boss just on the first round, almost on my own, it felt like. So it's fun to be that guy. Yeah. No. But, with that weapon, kind of.
That's fair.
So yeah, you want to talk about Stadia for a bit, man?
Is that an STD?
It's actually a new gaming platform that Google has come out with.
Pinky swear.
That me and you both got to try.
Pinky swear.
What?
I don't believe you. Pinky swear.
Oh, okay. I've only got to play it one night. It's been out
for one night.
Yeah, it's only been out for one night, I guess. But I only had one session with it, I guess I should say. And I only played it one way, which there's lots of people out there like, I tried it on my phone, I tried it on my whatever, So I just tried it on my MacBook. And I tried it with wireless and wired, but I was having like other computer problems when I was wireless. And that's something that I wanted to mention right off the bat is we got all these bad reviews out like before everybody got their hands on it of like, there's so much lag. There's that one viral video going around that someone turned into a GIF where like someone hits the space bar on their keyboard and 3 seconds later their player jumps and you're like, oh, really? Is it going to be that bad?
No.
It's nothing like that. Like,
I'm sure that can happen, but
and that's what I was going to get at is like, there's stuff internally within your network. Like you have to think about like, you're not trying to compete against a normal console. Like if you're trying to best whatever you have in your home as far as input control and it being exactly the same. Like there are so many factors that you have yourself that's going to work against whatever Stadia has. Like you have to recognize that your home setup has to be good enough to connect to a computer. Basically, it's not a, we're not going to call it a PC for this situation, but basically connect to a computer, somewhere else and have fast enough internet connection yourself that has nothing to do with Stadia to be able to play it in your home. So half of this isn't Stadia's necessarily issue, but they do have to deal with a lot of those factors. So and for me, I guess the whole reason I bring that up is because I had hardware issues where my USB ports weren't responding fast or would freeze up, and I had to do like some resets on my laptop before I could play Stadia correctly, and then it was fine. But I just had my own personal hardware stuff to get through first. So just wanted to preface the conversation with that. But Hov,
I also want to preface the conversation.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because you kind of touched on it. I think one of the biggest things that people are misjudging, even before it came out, misjudging Stadia on, is the number of people who are looking at it like it's, at least right now in 2019, to be something that's going to replace, for most gamers, a console or PC. I never personally looked at it like that. It's something that I can take my games and play a lot of different places with relative ease, assuming you have the internet, which like the good enough internet, which I know can be an issue, but if you don't have it, don't get Stadia. I mean, that should kind of speak for itself, but that's my biggest thing. It's like an auxiliary thing to your gaming, whatever you game on now, is the biggest thing. If you're not going to play, if you don't ever look to play anywhere other than sitting at your console or PC, Stadia's not really for you.
Well, I would take it back for one reason. Just there is one alternative in which you would use it as a primary console, and that is there are some people who want PC quality graphics, and that is one of the things that Stadia promised was 4K 60 frames per second, like what you would experience Destiny like on a PC. And so there are some people, maybe, not considering like there might be some input lag, or we don't know, that's what we're going to talk about today, but people were expecting at least the graphics to look, not maybe the same as the high settings on a PC, but something better than what they were experiencing on their current console. They wanted to experience 60 frames a second. They wanted to experience 4K, those things. And so that is where I think some people are coming from. And I do want to recognize that group because that's where Quick Bunny came from within
and I wasn't,
Resolute.
I wasn't saying there weren't people who there aren't people out there who it would work as a replacement. I'm just saying that, in my opinion, that's not the selling point of it right now. It's not right now something that's taking on. I mean, if it's trying to take on consoles and PC right now, then it is a failure because it is not going to replace. It's not.
I don't know. I see. I've been on Reddit every night since they started shipping.
But it has 22 games, and you can't even play it unless you pre-ordered it yet. That's what I'm saying.
No. I know. I'm just saying there are lots of busy family people out, like people who have external circumstances that prevent them from accessing a console easily or getting to their TV or whatever it is. Maybe they're stuck with mobile gaming, and this is a way that they could play Destiny not while their kids using the TV or stuff like that. And I've seen lots of positive posts about people who I finally have a way. I tried it out and I loved it. It worked great on my Pixel. It worked great on my MacBook or whatever, and I can go to the other room and play this while my kid's watching TV or my husband's doing this.
Right, but you're talking about people who already play these games somewhere else too.
No, these are people who have never experienced that. I'm just saying, I've been reading a lot of posts, and there are people who that is a draw is for the busy
people, but those people aren't going to make or break Stadia right now. Is my point.
No.
The majority of people who are going to pay for Stadia right now, which it's very important, as I've noted many times, that once it's fully launched, other than buying the game, there is no cost to it if you don't want Which is funny to me that people complain about that because, well, yeah, with anything you still have to buy the game. Like that's just how like buying things works.
I know that is funny.
I just meant for right now, like that group of people are not going to be the people who make or break this platform, because I think there's a point now, like we're at a point now where a large enough portion of the population, if they want to be into gaming, is already into gaming in some way. I'm not saying there aren't people who aren't, but as far as making or breaking a large new platform, bringing in new gamers who have the specific circumstances of not gaming because their kids or something use the things isn't going to change the fate of Stadia one way or the other.
Well, before we jump into, I do want to talk about our experiences with it, but before we do that, I just want to finalize this conversation of who Stadia is for by like, can we come up with like a who we do think it's for? Because I think there's different groups of people and I want to make sure they're represented. So you've got the people who are like are disappointed in Stadia, maybe, who are like, I thought this was going to replace my console, which you're saying, yeah, it would be a disappointment for
right now.
Yes, right now, yeah. And so there's that group of people, because there are people like with even in our clan, there are people that were looking for this to replace that, and then there are people who, like me, my version of it is I want to try Destiny at 60 frames per second. I want to be able to like play it on my MacBook. And have that experience of playing with mouse and keyboard, that kind of thing. Like I've never been able to experience Destiny that way. I've tried playing it through GeForce Now, but every time that I do, there's too much stuttering, there's too much input lag. Even if it looks good, like I can tell, like I can run it at the highest PC settings, but if I can't play it, it doesn't matter. And so for me, I just want to be able to play it at 60 frames per second. A bonus would be the graphical side of it. That would be great. But mainly I just want to play it, at 60 frames a second, a way to just solo content if I don't have access to my console or something like that, like auxiliary, like you said. So there's that group of people. And then, and I think those are the main, and then the third group would be the people who don't have a console, who don't have a computer, and they just, or maybe they have a Mac or something like me, and they just want a way of gaming that's simpler, because it is pretty impressively simple to be able to open your Chrome browser and click play, and all of a sudden you're in Destiny. It's instantly loaded.
I will say, playing on your TV with the Chromecast and everything is a little bit more complicated. But we'll get into that, and that's something that I kind of should have known as someone who's used a Chromecast before and how a Chromecast works.
Okay.
But we'll touch on that in a minute.
Well, let's jump into it. I'm curious to hear your experience on it, like what the different ways you tried it and what your experience is like with the different ones.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that I made my first YouTube video in 3 years. It's really really shitty and bad. It's a 14-minute video that took me about 15 minutes to make. Do you remember like a year or two ago there was a Humble bundle that had Sony Vegas Pro?
No.
Okay. Well, it's $20. And you got
That's
Sony Vegas Pro. So I got it, and I never even downloaded it because I don't have a fucking use for it. Actually, it might have been 3 years ago because it might have been when I was still making videos. But anyway, so I hurried up and I downloaded that, and just literally all I did was throw the clips together and just like render it, and I was done. Like I don't know how to do anything. I'm
just laughing because in the clip there's a part. I'm gonna give it away real quick because it's so good. Hov is looking at the Stadia controller and he's like, "There's a bunch of buttons here. I don't know what they all do. There's this one. I don't know what any of these buttons do. I don't even know why I'm doing this. I don't even know I'm making this. I don't know what anything does. I don't know why I'm making this video. Anyways."
Do you know what though? I will say, like, it's bad from a like technical like it's not like great. It's not by any means a good YouTube video, but I watched it and I was like, at least I don't sound like an idiot. Like.
Dude, anyway. No, it was good. I thought it was good. For you not having done that before, I was like, oh dang, like if he had like a setup, like if you planned it out like to like do multiple videos like this and had like planned out your shots and everything, like it would have been like your dialogue was great.
Yeah, I made it all up as I went. There was also no script or like talking.
That's what I mean. You were great. Yeah.
But anyway, so I did do a video. It's just kind of me unboxing it, showing what everything looks like. Initial thoughts, and then a little bit of not even gameplay, but just to kind of see what the controls looked like and everything. But anyway, so for anyone who's used a Chromecast before, So the Chromecast plugs into your TV, and then it has to be on the same network. I had the original Chromecast. It was wireless only, so it had to be on the same wireless network as your phone. You could then take your phone and cast YouTube or movies or anything to your TV, Netflix, any of that stuff. Well, the interesting thing is that's how Stadia works too, which introduces an extra potential for input lag and lag in general compared to playing straight from your PC, because your controller is wireless, which is going to your... It's like your controller's wireless and it's doing its thing back and forth. Yeah. The Chromecast is transmitting to your... Or the phone is transmitting to your Chromecast, which then goes into the TV, and the phone is getting everything wirelessly from Google servers. So you have like multiple stages of all this data moving and coming from different places. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you have to set up the Chromecast through the Google Home app. Okay? And then you open up the Stadia app and start playing the game on... Well, you don't necessarily have to start playing the game, but I have a Pixel, so I can. So I open up Destiny, and I hit cast, just like I would with a YouTube video, and it just casts what's on my phone to my Chromecast and my TV.
And there's not a way to just from your Chromecast to...
No, that's per Google's... Like, that was me following their instructions to set it up. As soon as you plug it in, it knows you're trying to do Stadia, and it tells you, like, there's even a button sequence you press to link that controller to that Chromecast so that it knows what Chromecast you're controlling. Like, what...
That doesn't make any sense, because, like, what if I don't have a Pixel phone?
You can still use Chromecast. You just wouldn't be able to play the game.
Like...
I was saying, that's why I'm saying, like, you don't have to start playing the game. It just gave me that option because I'm on a Pixel. But it'll still cast. Everything goes, the data goes into your phone, and then your phone casts it to the Chromecast onto your TV.
Yeah. That just doesn't make sense, because I feel like, wouldn't it be, because I heard people plugging in their Ethernet cables into the Chromecast.
I did that too.
And so why wouldn't the data just go to the Chromecast instead of your phone first? Like, that just seems unnecessary.
Well, I don't know.
So how was your experience doing it that way?
So when I first started, I will say that even though I said this in the video too, I should have known this already, and I did know it, I just forgot. And they even tell you in the instructions. I forgot to turn on like game mode to reduce input lag in general.
Yes, on your TV, yeah.
And in the video, I mean, there was a good... When I first started, there was a good half second. Like, you could see me, like, if I went back and forth, the cursor would be one horizontal movement behind. Do you know what I mean? So I played a PvP match like that, and it was a bit rough.
Ooh, yeah.
No, I didn't even get to PvP. I just ran around the tower, and it was a little bit rough.
Okay.
It was a little bit easier for me because I knew, like, you get an idea of how long you have to... Like, when you load into the tower and you're running over to say, the gunsmith, and then you're going to open up the gunsmith to get bounties... We've played this so long, you have an idea of how long to run, hold in the button. So I was kind of like forecasting that. Yeah. Kinda, yeah. But then I turned on game mode and everything. And it was still, I'm not going to lie, it was still a little bit rough. There was a tiny bit of lag. You didn't see it as much. Like, I could, again, it's in the video. It's not as noticeable visually, but you can feel it a little bit. And I was
interesting.
I was a little bit concerned.
So I think that did you do anything else with the Chromecast? Was that your full Chromecast experience?
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of time, so I just wanted to try it out. So I just played a comp game on there.
So I think you should try not doing it through your phone. I know it told you to, because
you have to.
No, I don't think you do, because how would I do it if I don't have a phone?
The Chromecast has no... Even if you're just using the Chromecast minus Stadia, the Chromecast does not have a UI or way to control it, just your phone. The only way to play through the Chromecast on your TV is the Stadia app. That is the only way.
Interesting. Okay.
There is no UI.
So here's my friend's experience in the UK, Kilo, whose account he's been letting me lend so I can try it out. He said for him, on Chrome on his Mac, it felt like console to him, basically, like that kind of feeling input wise. And he's been playing it on Steam on PC for the past few months. But he said on the Chromecast it felt more like PC with the 60 FPS. And so
it looked great on my. I have like a 40 inch TV, maybe.
Yeah,
it looked fantastic.
Interesting. I hear that Chromecast is the best visual. Like I've even heard rumors that like maybe they're not compressing the video as much when it's being sent to a Chromecast because they know that's going to a TV or something like that. But I don't know. I heard it looks great and it looks more like 4K basically if you're going through Chromecast. What was your other experience with it like that? You said you played it a different way?
So yeah, after I did that, I then just went to, Stadia.com or whatever it is and played through there. And it felt pretty close to like PC or console. Like I didn't, maybe the tiniest bit of lag on the movement, but not really. I mean, it felt pretty good. I will say it did take, and this isn't surprising, 5 to 10 minutes to get a comp match, a survival match.
Oh yeah.
But again, it's pretty much like early access right now to something.
Did you see the player base? The post going around about it? Yeah. At one point there was like 44 people total in PvP, Crucible. Yeah.
But PvE, I could see it being great. And again, if you're the person that's just like, hey, I'm out or I'm at work or I'm traveling, I just want to sit down and play something, PvE should be fine. And also games that don't require like high-level reflexes and stuff. If you're playing, something slower, I don't see a problem. But again, playing right on my PC through Stadia.com or however, I don't remember.
Yeah, it's through Stadia.
It was fine.
Did you try it on your Pixel at all? I heard that's one of the best experiences.
I didn't.
Okay. I'm really curious how that is for you.
I saw a picture. It was just like a little holder that like attached to the controller and then held your phone. So you just hold the controller and then just play like right there. That looked really cool.
I heard it works really well.
Speaking of the controller though, for anyone who's actually watching, I have it right here. It looks a lot like, it feels mostly like a PlayStation controller.
Yeah. I can see the similarities.
It's similar. It's much less. There's much less texture to it. It's just a very smooth the whole way around. Like, the PlayStation has like the circles that are flat that has the D-pad and the numbers or the letters on them. This does. It's just a very smooth. There's no ridges. There's no divots. It's just a very smooth, just controller. A couple of the differences: the thumbsticks feel almost exactly the same.
Oh, that's nice.
The D-pad is not 4 buttons like PlayStation's. It's a single cross, but it gives you a really nice click. You might even be able to hear it.
Yeah, I can hear it, yeah.
And then there's A, B, X, Y, but they're in the same, which is funny because it kept coming up and saying press like B to do this, and I was like, I don't even know what letter B. Well, because, just like the Destiny UI. I just know that it's circle.
I thought it might have changed because it's on a different platform. They might have built that in for the Stadia controller, but they didn't.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it said like B. Like there's no B on.
I get it.
Yeah. So the buttons, I kind of know what they are now. One's
a save, right? Like one's a save.
Well,
like
this one is just like the PlayStation button. It turns the controller on. It brings up the Stadia menu. And then this one right here is Google Assistant, which isn't working yet, but it opens Google Assistant. Okay. These two are kind of like for Destiny specifically, this one takes you right into your character screen, and this one takes you into your director. It's kind of like
nice.
Yeah. So you know how like
dedicated director button? We don't even have that on console.
And then this is like screenshots, which the other cool thing, it uploads directly to your device, like whatever phone, like for me, my Pixel 3. Oh. So it's like the share button, kind of.
Can you record video though?
I don't. Dude, I played one game.
Stadia. Okay. I'm curious about that though, because I feel like they have potential to, and I feel like they're going to integrate YouTube into it eventually to live stream there. But I wonder if they'll have like Twitch. If you could live stream on Twitch from something that you're not, not even at your house, you're basically live streaming from some Google server somewhere. That would be interesting to see how good a quality you could get and stuff like that. But real quick, I'll talk about my experience with it because I got to play with the PlayStation controller USB'd into my MacBook. Like I said earlier, I tried Wi-Fi, but I had some other hardware issues, and I was trying to figure everything out. So I was like, I might as well hardwire into it, and so I did that. And then it was like, and I figured out my USB port issue, got that cleaned up. Like it was all my stuff I had to fix, and I needed to figure out some of that stuff anyway. So I'm glad this finally made me do it.
Right.
And then once I did, like it was flawless, man. Like I experienced slight, very slight input lag. It could have been me playing Destiny 60 FPS for the first time because I'd never played really
No, that
like
wouldn't.
not without like input lag basically, because on GeForce Now I had big time lag. Like I could not play on a controller at all on GeForce Now. It was too laggy. I could feel it too much. With Stadia, I could actually play and it wasn't a deterrent to me playing. Like I was like, I could do this. And after like maybe a game or two of Crucible, I couldn't feel the difference at all. Like I was hitting headshots with a sniper rifle, which felt weird at first, but I kind of got used to it and I was like, okay, like I get it now. Like everything felt great. I never felt like I would move and it wouldn't move, and it didn't hiccup at all. It never froze. It downgraded quality here or there, which I saw for other people streaming it that was happening, but it was much
That's
better.
what it's supposed to do, to be fair.
Exactly. And if you've experienced this before, as I have on like GeForce Now is really bad with it. Like when I degrade it, when my quality dropped, it would freeze my game for a second. The quality would change. It was like, oh, here, let me get this other feed for you. And so I wouldn't be able to do anything for a second. It would freeze. The quality would sometimes get so bad that I couldn't even see what I was doing.
I did run into that.
That was not the case.
Once or twice only when I was playing through the Chromecast. And that's one other thing. Not only was there a little bit of input lag, but there was a bit of audio desync as well. But
was that through the Chromecast or
through the Chromecast? Like I said, playing the one little bit I played on my Chrome browser on my PC, it goes to full screen. You couldn't have told me I wasn't playing on PC. Like it felt really good.
Yeah, that's how mine was. Yeah,
I did have a couple times in that game where it was weird. Like one time, it like wouldn't go. And as soon as I came out of a spawn, I tried to move, and my guy like kind of just went off to the left walking, and then just like stopped, even though I wasn't pressing. It was real weird. It was only for like a second. But it was really weird. It only happened once, maybe twice.
So that's what happened to me whenever I was first trying it out. But that was my input. Like it wasn't because, and this is why I knew it wasn't Chromecast or why it wasn't Stadia, is because there was my visuals weren't disrupted. Like I was still getting the download and I was like, is it my upload or something? But it was my actual input from my device. Like sometimes I know it's my USB input devices because my mouse lights will go off. Like I'll see the power go out of my input devices and then they'll come back on and I'm like, oh, that's weird. And once I resetted all my memory and software stuff in my Mac, it was fine. So I don't know if that is anything to do with what happened to you, but once I fixed all that, I never had that issue again. I played maybe at least 5 games of comp because I went on a 5 streak and he hadn't played any comp yet. And then after I had won 5 games, I was like at one point I got to 1200 glory and then I just couldn't find anyone for a whole hour. It kicked me to orbit twice, 2 or 3 times. And I was like, well, I'm done for the night. I'm not going to play anymore. But running around the tower PvE stuff, load times were ridiculously fast compared to console, which felt so good. And to be able to, and this is what I'm looking more forward to than anything. And this is where the alternative gaming kind of comes in that we were talking about. If I load up my PS4, if there's a Destiny update and I just wanted to play it, I just wanted to jump, I have 20 minutes. I just want to jump on, do this, grab these bounties, go do this PvE thing, whatever it is. You can do that so fast on Stadia. If I were to turn on my PS4, I have to wait for it to open, load up Destiny. It takes forever. Go to the tower. It takes forever.
Saying you can do it fast on Stadia itself is misleading because you don't have to do any of that. You just buy it and you just click play and it's up. That's it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was agreeing with you. Like even saying, oh, it doesn't take long to do it is in a way misleading because you don't have to do any of that. There is no downloading or any of that stuff. You just say, I bought this. Like if I was like Google Lego, this hey Google.
Thank you.
And my phone just answered me because I said hey Google again. No, I could just be like, Lego, like, let's play this game. It's really cool. And you're like, oh, I've been meaning to get that. Give me a minute. You just turn on your computer, go to Stadia, click that you want to buy it, and it just you just open it. And you just start playing.
Yeah. Yeah. Which GeForce Now is similar to that, but this loads so much faster and that it's a part of Chrome. You can tell it's so everybody's this is something that I wanted to get at. Everybody's harping on Google for not putting out a finished product. That is something you see online all over the place right now. Like, what are they thinking? This is going to die. Compared to the people. Yeah, this is the launch of a game that's going to be free of a system that's going to be free to use, and it's not free to use yet. So I'm not saying it's a beta, but it's not in its final state yet. We know that. And literally just the founders are playing it right now. And GeForce Now and in the Shield TV and like all these other things are Shadow is another one that's been out there. I haven't tried Shadow yet, but GeForce Now in particular has been around for years. It's been in beta forever, and that's why it's free for me to use right now. And it is not as polished as Stadia.
And that's something that's important. I wanted to have you mention, because there's a lot of people before this launch saying that GeForce Now already does this better.
No, it doesn't. Like, yes, graphically, you can put it on high PC settings. It will look better, but for how long and for how consistently, and is it playable? Because to me, it can look as pretty as, you want it to, but if you can't play it, what's the point, you know? And so that's my point that's just ridiculous, right?
I was just thinking about how that's kind of similar. Never mind, forget it. That was going to be bad. It was going to be bad.
Okay.
When you no matter how pretty it looks, if you can't play it.
That's bad.
I was going to talk about manscaping.
No. Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of my point though. Is that like, GeForce Now, it looks good, but it has so many problems. There's so many times that I also try to get on. It's like looking for a PC for you right now, I've been talking to you. I'm like, sorry, I can't get in right now. I don't know what's going on.
Somebody mentioned that you were talking to on Twitter. They said lately he's been having a hard time even finding a rig for it to link him to.
Yes, exactly. And not only that, but with everybody saying that Stadia is so bad, it makes me so mad that all these reviews went out before people got their hands on it. And they're so vastly different depending on what you were looking for Stadia to be, like we were talking about. Because when I put my review out, my one day, like, hey, I had a great experience. Look at this. Somebody commented and was like, "You're joking, right? Like, is this a joke?"
Yeah, I was
like, no, this isn't. This is my experience. Like, I didn't get paid to do this. This is just me. I just tried it out because I want an alternative way to play Destiny, to go grab bounties and try it out at 60 frames a second. And it was great. It was exactly what I was looking for. I was hoping that, and this is so my critique part of this whole thing, I was hoping that the graphics would be better. That is something that I'm
See,
like kind of like
pretty good. I don't know.
It was fine, but I was hoping it would be more like how GeForce Now can pull off the high settings, and people are comparing it to PC medium settings, and it kind of felt the stream. I don't know about settings wise, what it looked like to me, because I haven't played it necessarily in a smooth way on PC, but it felt like compressed to me when I was playing it through Chrome.
Well, I do remember people saying, even early on before everyone started shitting on it, that one of the things it looked like, and it's because it is it's pretty much streaming a video to you, so it looks compressed like a YouTube video or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it does go through that compression.
Which I kind of expect too.
But I also
to
think,
be fair,
aren't the graphics one of the things that changes with your connection too? Like, it tunes them down.
Yes and no. It's more like stream quality, I think, than graphics right now. But you do bring up, they have mentioned that they're going to get better with like their machines and stuff, and the way that they do graphics will expand over time. I don't know what that means for Destiny, because there's been reports from different outlets that, Destiny is set to run at medium PC settings. And maybe they'll have to actually port over a better version of it before Stadia gets a better version of it. I don't know how all that works. But the possibility is there for us to, as Destiny gets better, for Stadia to get better, and you never buy another version of Stadia, that will just never happen. It'll just get better as it goes.
Right.
Which is exciting. It's cool that, and ease of use is probably the biggest pro to all of this. Loading times, as I mentioned, get playing PvE content. People, here's another thing. People are talking about how great it is to just play Destiny in bed. Like you just like, instead of like having to sit at a desk like this to play your PC version or whatever it is that is 60 frames a second, you just like go lay in your bed with your Android. You have that phone connector thing you were talking about, and you just like hit a button, Destiny's up, you're immediately loaded into the tower, grabbing your bounties, doing your PvE thing, and before you go to bed, you know, whatever it is. Not saying that's the healthiest thing to do or whatever, you know, but your options are there. That's why Stadia is there, is so you can play it how you want to play. I think overall, to me, it hits all the marks that I was wanting and leaves room for improvement on like graphical stuff. So yeah, I'm excited about it, man. I think it's really cool.
Like I said, the launch hasn't been good. They've kind of back like things that they talked about aren't available yet, and there's a lot of that stuff, and you can read about it. I mean, the buddy passes aren't out. There's been some delays with shipping. The launch hasn't been good. I have no qualm saying that. But the product itself, it's as good as I thought it was going to be, with the potential to do a lot of things, which is always what I was hopeful of. The one thing I did notice in settings, and I only briefly looked in there, the settings were like a mishmash of console and PC. Because there were obviously places for key bindings, because,
right,
you know, you can play with the mouse and keyboard, but I didn't see anywhere to change like field of view.
There isn't. Yeah.
Okay.
I was watching some other people who were doing streams of Stadia, and they said it's about the console version. They were doing tests on it, and it's about, I think 85 was what they said, field of view, whatever the console.
It definitely seemed tighter than PC, which is what I had been playing on lately.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, I think that about I mean, player base is small, but if you're doing PvE stuff, you know, it doesn't really matter. Give it some time. Not people who, you know, there's people in chat right now even who are waiting on their codes still. I think people in the RezoCast Discord for sure. I guess that's the last thing I want to mention about Stadia is I know that it's hard for people to find friends right now, the way that the Stadia's app works and everything. You can use the menu button to add friends within while you're in Stadia. Because I did it with you earlier. And RezoCast Discord has a Stadia LFG now, so I know we got some Resolute people in there that are looking to play with people on Stadia. And so yeah, if you're looking to find some people, like, for sure jump in. It'll be in the tweet, in the podcast description.
Now with the Bungie Destiny roster, I have a plus and a minus.
Okay.
When I just happened to open up my roster, it showed me our clan.
Yeah.
And it showed me people that, even though they weren't online and I wasn't friends with them, it showed them in our clan, which is cool. So I knew who to add. So like I added
that is
Monk.
nice.
I think Jag added me, QB, and Impound, I think. Briar. And Briar.
Okay,
However,
cool.
the one thing you can't do, at least when they're offline, I haven't tried anyone online, if you click on them, like, you know, normally we bring up like inspect player, send friend request, there's nothing. You can't send a friend request through the game, at least as of now. At least if they're offline. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a bummer. That would be nice to be able to do that. Yeah, overall, so here's the main point I want to end on is Destiny itself, when they announced all this, you know, for Shadowkeep, and they had all the devs out talking about coming to Stadia. The main thing was their goal to play Destiny anywhere with everyone. You know, that's when they announced cross save, and this has been kind of preppiness for this. And I feel like they have, you know, the next step is cross play, and that might be coming. We don't like, it's definitely something Bungie is like, they want to push towards. They have made posts about it before, that, you know, comments on Reddit and stuff, or different tweets. Like, it's something we're looking into, obviously. But other than that, I think we're hitting the goal of playing, you know, your Guardian anywhere with this platform. You know, I haven't played it at a hotel yet. I've heard reports hit or miss of that. But so far it's opened up a lot more doors, and to experience Destiny at 60 FPS is pretty awesome.
So enough Stadia for today.
Yeah. So we got a TWAB with a ton of Destiny stuff in it. mainly solar subclass changes. Holy crap, that's some big reworks in here. Some stuff hunters have been asking for quite a while. I'm not going to read through all the tweaks, but we can kind of hit some of our favorites here, talk about the reworks and goals of them. The biggest one for Gunslinger, Way of the Sharpshooter, they talk about bottom path, and they're kind of like reworking it to have all this precision stuff. They've differentiated Golden Gun to be the 6-shot and the 3-shot. The 6-shot is just for close quarter, like kill a bunch of things. The 3-shot is accurate long range stuff. So the 6-shot, sometimes you may need to take 2 shots to finish something further away and you don't have as much aim assist. The 3-shot is like a lot of aim assist, kill it in 1 shot kind of thing. And the precision bottom tree is going to have a weighted knife that you charge up and travels at high speed and does a precision headshot that 1 hit kills in PvP, which is pretty awesome. It's something the community's been wanting for a long time, you know. Right. Titans got shoulder charge, you know, Warlocks have their ridiculously long range Nova melee that will kill in 1 shot multiple people sometimes. So it's cool to see hunters get some love with their 1-hit throwing knife that recharges if you get a headshot, which is pretty fun too. And they added in also the this one isn't the one that sticks, right? Like that's the other one. Because they said they changed one of the throwing knives to stick and like have an explosion one, but that's not this one, right? Did you read that part?
I'm not sure.
Let's see. Am I like making this up right now? Yeah, okay. So we made changes to Way of the Outlaw, the 6-shot, I believe, that helps keep its potency, like adding a new explosive prox knife that can stick to surfaces and detonate when enemies pass by. So I'm curious how that's gonna turn out, but I'm glad that they have these different they differentiate the different ones, kind of like how Titans, the Sentinel recently, their shoulder charge now will suppress rather than just kill someone, which is cool. You don't have to run Peregrine Greaves all the time if you just want to take out some supers, so that's pretty cool. Anything you like about the Hunter class here? I feel like Hunter is one of your go-tos. You know, I know Warlock, we've talked about it, but
I mean, it's pretty much right. I'm glad there's the 1-hit kill knife. We'll see how that works out, but it's nice to have it back. Like Matt Grundy said, still no sticky trip mines. That's a little bit sad, but
yeah, I know. I saw some of that on Twitter too. They also have the knock them down, precision final blows, increased stability, and ADS speed. That's pretty cool too, and that like stacks too, and it helps you not have to just run Celestial Nighthawk, because if you stack this precision blows, then when you cast your super with the buff above 20 seconds. It consumes the buff and grants extra damage. So I think that's like a way around, if you're Golden Gun, you have to run Celestial Nighthawk. It gives you a few other options. That's pretty cool.
I'm down.
I like that they're doing that, making it not feel like you have to run these exotics. And we've kind of been tweaking that throughout the seasons. Sunbreaker, dude, this one, I'm like a little scared. Like, they tend to do this with Titans where they just like overcharge one of their supers, you know, and I'm afraid that's what's going to happen here. Like, I'm a Titan and I'm like, whoa, this is going to be really strong. Because while I don't love the neutral game of the Code of the Devastator Middle Pass Sunbreaker, its super is like really strong. That when they throw down the Whirlwind axe and it just like tracks super hardcore. Now the explosion of the initial like hit of it is going to create like an area of effect vertically that will kill you even if you're pretty high up in the air. That's pretty insane. Like, it's already really strong and now that's getting a buff. And the throwing hammer is getting increased impact from 100 to 120, which already you got Roaring Flames with, which does like a bonus damage, and now it has an increase from 10% to 25%. Oh, I feel like I'm talking
about Titans. They're stupid,
dude. I'm telling you, if you've watched like TV has some videos, True Vanguard, of like him getting the hammer going. You can basically stack it. If you get a kill with it, it stacks this damage, and now it does more damage, and the effect will stack on top of that. You might have some crazy things going on, PvP.
People
or
figure
PvE.
some stuff out for sure.
Okay, the Warlock one. I want you to cover this one because I feel like this is more your territory. I
You
know you're
start.
a Storm.
You start covering it, and I will respond in 10 seconds. This is not what I text. I'll be right back. Just start talking. Monologue.
Okay. So, the Dawnblade, Tomb of Sky, top path. We've got the biggest thing here is they wanted to control the sky, and Icarus Dash is getting like double everything basically. So it already gives you your increased speed, but now you can do it twice in a row, which they didn't say it in the TWAB, but they cleared it up on Twitter, which is insane. And then you've got a new melee, which is a spiral of 3 explosive solar projectiles. We'll see how that works. It sounds kind of like the really strong void melee that Warlocks have, which would be nice for solar to get some of the love too. But I'm going to hate playing against it, but it is what it is. Heat rises, consume a grenade to extend glide time, and Wing Sun, fire weapons, use celestial fire, and throw a grenade while gliding. This is all just crazy in-air stuff. And the dodging twice. Okay, they did fix it here. You can dodge twice in a row. And dodging in Daybreak accelerates players like it normally does. They are debuffing the speed of while you're going in your super, but they increased it in the neutral game and for when you're in your super and you use the Icarus Dash. So there's stuff they're doing to kind of balance things out, which is great. But man, it seems really strong. It seems really strong in the aerial game. I'm bummed that Twilight Garrison wasn't announced with this as well.
I'm pretty happy.
That's basically
about it.
They're giving it the Twilight Garrison treatment. And Kevin, the Bungie dev who's in charge of the Crucible sandbox stuff, was teasing me and Swain today. I don't know if you saw that. But about Twilight Garrison, and he was like putting all these gifs of laughter and stuff like, oh, is it coming? But really he was just basically trolling us because Icarus Dash is just getting the Twilight Garrison treatment of being able to dodge twice in a row. Right. But that's still not going to make me play Warlock because I hate that freaking jump. I'm not going to play it, man. You can't convince me to.
Maybe while we're on that topic, I just want to get to, since we're talking about it, one of our community questions this week.
I saw it. I know.
The Big Ben, fellow Stadia player, will Lego move to top tree Dawnblade now that you can double Icarus Dash now? No,
I'm not gonna do it. I and you and everybody pushed, the entire clan pushed for me to move to this subclass when Destiny 2 first came out, and I didn't do it then. I'm not gonna do it now because the Warlock jump is stupid. I don't like jumping, and then if I let go of the jump and hit it again, I don't go any further. I just fall. I just fall slowly, and it's awful. I hate it. I want nothing to do with it. I won't even play a Warlock, really, unless I can blink, because that's how terrible the jump is. I know some people are good at it, and you can Warlock glide, and you can do the skating, but I hate it. I just can't get used to it. In 5 years, I have not gotten used to the Warlock jump, and I do not anticipate.
You haven't really tried, though, to be fair.
I have tried. Tried multiple. I've watched Fallout's videos and like all these people who explain what Warlock, dashing, jumping, prancing through the snow, surfing. Yeah, Warlock surfing. That's what they call it. Yeah,
I know. That's why I said it.
No, I'm not gonna get caught up in these LA lights of how bedazzled the Warlock surf is. I'm not gonna do it.
Bedazzled LA lights.
Yeah,
that's fair.
What about you? Are you going to try it out now since you're fine with the floof?
I might, but I've never cared for Dawnblade that much in general. I've always played Storm or Voidwalker. So, I mean, I guess I'll try it out, but honestly, I don't really have too much to compare it to because I honestly don't play Dawnblade like almost ever unless I need Solar for something. Mm-hmm. I never connected with the Dawnblade,
I know what you mean. No, actually, that's one of the things that I love about Destiny is you have your, because Destiny's about, it's not like this for everyone, but you have that feeling of, this is your fantasy character that embodies some part of you that you like, that you see yourself in your character in some ways. And for me, I see myself in a Titan, the way it jumps, the way I shoulder charge, the way I can kind of dodge sideways out of the way. Like I'm used to that. I see myself as I main Titan for like 5 years. I'm used to that. And so you got warlocks that feel the same way. And so giving it the Twilight Garrison treatment it's a warlock's still a warlock. You can't take a rock and turn it into, I don't know, a person. It's still gonna be a rock. It's still gonna be a warlock. Sorry. That's my rant.
Oh,
That's
no,
the
I
tweet.
liked it.
That's
I liked it.
So yeah, that's basically all the changes. I kind of wish that the warlock one, the bottom tree, the one that has the dive, would have gotten some love, because I really like that. Is one thing I like almost more than the dash. Double dash will be cool, but that dive, it just looks so cool, even if it's not very useful. It just looks awesome.
I mean, people are definitely happy with the double dash, though. I know that it's not your thing.
Yeah,
but that is something that people responded to pretty well.
Mm-hmm. I think there's something for everyone here. Sunbreaker with the enhanced damage on the neutral game it could be really cool in PvE. With the super, it's gonna be really strong. The hunters getting the throwing knife is really cool. The warlocks getting their double dodge. There's something for everyone, I think, with the solar upgrades, and I'm excited to see how it plays out next season. It makes me wonder if we're going to see some love for the solar classes in the artifact. I think somebody mentioned it somewhere, but Arc and Void were really strong between Arc Barrier and the Void Grenade extra damage buff with the artifact this season. Next season, will we see some solar love? And I think the answer is yes, given all of this. Yeah.
I would assume so.
So after all that all looks great. Excited. Even though we haven't got any sandbox update, we did get a peek into the subclass changes, and that's exciting. And this goes back to, I don't want to stay on this topic, but it goes back to them building the foundation of the game to make a better game and more, fun and balanced and everything. And all the classes are worth playing for, in particular PvP, building that PvP foundation for when Trials does return, and that focus on PvP returns. Maybe it's not Trials, maybe it's something else, but you get what I'm saying.
Right.
Getting that foundation down.
Agreed.
It's exciting.
Agreed.
Iron Banner is coming back next week. It always feels like it just happened every time. There is one thing I want to say about this, and that is this bummer that people aren't crying about it yet, but I know they will. I'll be maybe kind of sad about it if there's no new weapons either, but here's what the big thing, not this, and I'm not even talking about this next week. I'm talking about next season, because it says, where is it? Okay, at the end of it, after they list the dates, we'll be featuring a reprised armor set next season. That's kind of a bummer. Like, it just is a kind of a bummer. I get it. And here's where it would be exciting for me, is if it was last season's armor set, because that is not an ornament.
Right.
And that's another thing I want to say. If they do another armor set, can we please make them ornaments? Can we make all of them ornaments instead of just drops? That would be nice, because I like the Iron Banner ornament system, and you could use it on all Iron Banner armor. That would be great.
Which is true.
Yeah, so I hope that's the case. We'll see. Shout out to Bungie. Also, another thing, they raised over 1.6 million of funding during their campaign, the Game to Give fundraising thing. That's amazing. That's incredible. So they have a whole section about that. Definitely check it out. It's crazy, man. Dude, this community is insane, man. How we're always raising money for stuff. It gets me really it just makes me really proud to be a part of the community, honestly.
Just one thing I want to point out, Matt Grundy said in chat, the DMG responded to Fitzy and said it's not a D1 Iron Banner set.
Okay, well, yeah. So it's gonna be a D2, like one we've already had. So probably last season.
Yeah, I'm just saying that something that was pointed out.
That's interesting. Yeah. Another thing that is new that is coming out, they announced the official Destiny cookbook. Hov, you excited?
Like, it sounds cool, but more as a joke. Like, I don't know.
It does kind of sound like a joke.
I don't know. They also
I'm
announced
curious-
Volume 3 of the Grimoire Anthology,
Yeah,
though.
I was getting to that. Yeah, I know. I just think it's funny that they announce a cookbook along with it. Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either, but it's interesting.
Yeah, like, it could be funny. It might have good stuff in it, but, like, that's not something I ever saw coming. Like, did anybody ever think, like, man, there's all kinds of really cool food talked about. Like, let's have a cookbook. It was just really out of left field for me.
Do you think it'll have the cookies in it from the Dawning? Like, will they have recipes for those?
Probably.
Yeah, probably. Was that Eva doing those cookies? That's what I thought. So she gives us the haunted stuff and the Christmas cheer, or holiday cheer. You know what I mean. So let's see if there's anything else here. I think that's about it. I do want to point out the movie of the week because I saw this earlier. Is a Titan punched Zolmak, the dungeon boss, to death with
like
seven punches. Dude. Of course that would get movie of the week because he did it in 7 punches and 7 is Bungie. That's awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Pretty awesome.
It's also ridiculous, but kind of cool.
Yeah, pretty cool. I'm also really excited for next season to come so people stop complaining about all the punching stuff because it has not been a problem for me in Crucible at all. Unless you play 6s, this hardly ever happens. So, but I see people complain about it all the time. You know what is annoying is arc battery because that thing's so freaking strong. Or wait, not arc battery. Is arc battery the dodging one?
I know
that's
the dodging one.
Yeah, dude. So Wilson knows what I'm talking about. He'd agree with me.
So that made me think of another community question on here. Darth Loki asked, "What are your thoughts on the lack of information about next season, considering it's only a few weeks away?" I'm okay with it. I've never been a huge fan of knowing too much, and I know in the past I've said I'm okay with knowing new mechanics and everything. I just don't want to know the story. I'm also okay with not knowing anything.
Yeah. That was going to be my approach too. I hate to say it. I want to take devil's advocate here, say like I'm upset or something, which, I would like to know something's coming, but I honestly think most of the time our problem is too much information and being like kind of disappointed. Like, everyone's disappointed with the final assault right now or whatever. Like, I don't know if this is the case of that, what I said. But when the dungeon came, I had no idea what was going to be in the dungeon, that I could solo it. That was a goal,
But that was one where I didn't remember I commented on that when they told us when the dungeon was coming.
Yeah.
Like way ahead of time. I didn't want to know that. I would expect some sort of hype, whether it be some sort of hype something before it comes out. It may not release much information, but it's Bungie. Like, they're going to have some kind of hype trailer, video, Vidoc, something.
Yeah. I would expect that too. But right now, I don't think it's because they're like, oh, what do we do? And I don't think Loki thinks either. I don't think that's why he's asking the question. But I don't think that lack of information means anything bad. And I'm actually excited that I don't know. The more stuff that just happens in game that I have no idea that it's happening. Somebody made a post about this the other day. I think it was maybe Aston on Twitter, but they were like, I love it when there's events like Shattered Throne that just like happens and Guardians are the one who like makes it happen, like because they did the raid and then the curse started and the Dreaming City, that kind of stuff. That stuff's great. And the more stuff like that happens in this universe, the better. I can't wait for the next secret mission we keep kind of talking about. I know there's going to be one that comes and I can't wait for that because that's some of my favorite stuff. So excited for all that they have to come. Maybe we'll even get one at the end of the season with the final assault build up. Something's gonna happen. It might be a little more artificial than Guardians beating the Dreaming City, or not, Riven and starting the curse and everything. But I'm excited to see what happens. I know it didn't happen this week, but I'm okay with that. And we'll, for those saying that, I'm just gonna go back to this for a second. For those saying that the season wasn't worth it, it's not over yet. Heads up.
That's true.
We still got a few weeks left.
I also want to point out, though, don't expect. I don't think you're also saying expect something crazy to happen. But
no, I will say it right now. Something crazy is going to happen, just like the beginning of this DLC where something crazy happened and we were all like, whoa, didn't expect that so soon. Something like that is going to happen again at the end of the season. Like, and it may not be end of the season, but beginning of the next season or end of this season.
Okay, well, obviously something beginning of next season. That's cheating. That does not count.
But that's how you got to view this world now. We're not in a like but like, you know, these things are in a line. This is they want this to be an evolving, growing world.
Right, but obviously the new season's going to have something. I don't think people were not expecting that. I feel like that was a little bit of a cop-out.
Okay, it's slightly...
What I was going to say is,
okay,
I don't see anything exciting happening at the end of a season, except maybe if it was just some sort of cutscene, only because they're not going to add something at the end of a season that's only going to be there for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like an event or a you know, something like that. That's all.
Yeah. I get that. That makes sense. And I guess that's what I'm saying, is it's more like a cutscene kind of thing that leads into some thing that starts next, that kicks off next season. That's what I expect.
That's fair.
So yeah. Because they kind of blend together, you know, and they should. So yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see what happens. Because there's a, you know, the world's growing. What do you? Okay, real quick. What do you? Well, maybe was this in the Twitter questions? Like, what do you expect for Season of the Dawning? Like, if you guess right now, because I'm curious what you think.
Honestly, I have no idea.
No, I hate it when you do this.
I don't. That's one of my things, though. I have, and I said this one time a long time ago. I have gotten so much more into Destiny, and it's the reason I like God of War and Spider-Man so much. I love the like what's gonna happen next story. Like that's my favorite part of Destiny. I haven't played Destiny 2 as much as I did Destiny 1. Even when I I think the game's in a great spot, but I don't grind it and play it like crazy anymore. I really just like playing through the stuff, seeing what's happening, making it happen, and then I'm okay with whatever. So yeah. I don't even know, and it's so hard with them because we're entering like a new phase of their storytelling, right? Like these things are starting to come together, these different seasons and stories we've had, but it doesn't necessarily mean that every season is going to be a continuation.
Let me rephrase. Not what do you think's going to happen, but what would you like to see? Like, say this is the end of a Marvel, you know, not season. What do they call it? Phase. This is the end of a Marvel phase, and you're going into the next phase, you know, and you're like, oh, I'd really like to see this hero or whatever. Like, what would be the Destiny?
Yeah, but I know so much more about Marvel. Like, if Anon was here, he could help me with this. But I don't know.
No, come on. What interests you in the universe, though? Like, would you want to see more of Zavala,
strippers.
or would there hasn't been a Destiny version of that yet? I
bet you there's strippers, and I bet you Cade knew all of them.
I bet you he did.
And Eris.
Okay. So, oh gosh, I'm getting old Greg flashbacks. I would like to see, I'd really like to see Aldrin. That's what I would like to see. I would like to see that progression. I don't know what in the world that would have to do with Season of the Dawn, if that is the name of next season, because they've also changed the names of seasons. I don't want to just assume it's going to be called Season of the Dawn completely, because they said that this season with Season of the Undying was actually going to be called something else, and they kind of brushed it under the rug and were like, actually it's this. And somebody even mentioned it on a different podcast, I can't remember, but they were saying how like it, if you look at it on like Destiny's store or in the UI somewhere, it says the old name, but everybody calls it Season of Undying. I can't remember what the names were, but anyway, so if we're going off the Season of the Dawning or Season of the Dawn, like I think it would be cool to either see Aldrin, something to do with Aldrin, something to do with Zavala actually doing something, not just like, we need to just stay here and do this, y'all are all wrong, like, but actually taking a stand and like seeing him do something, because he's been kind of lame all of Destiny 2. Like, even if his ideals are correct in protecting the city, he kind of hasn't shown himself to do much of anything, or anything that he's done has not paid off really in a way that we could see it. And that would be nice, because his cutscene at the beginning of Destiny 2 was awesome, where it shows him kind of when he first became a Guardian, and then him protecting the city, and like that was really cool. And I'd like to see more of that, Zavala.
Do you think that, because I think his story arc could become really cool, because isn't he kind of in a way? No, never mind. I was going to say, in a way, he's like early MCU Captain America, in just this very, I stand by my morals, I can't do these things because but then I realized that in the first Captain America movie, Captain America didn't listen to anyone and went and rescued Bucky, whereas Zavala was like, they killed Cade, but what are you gonna do? So I'm gonna walk back that
Yeah.
comparison.
Yeah, I see. The third alternative that I'd like to see is something with redeeming of Osiris's Curse of Osiris storyline, because there's so many things in that I didn't like, uh, from Osiris's lack of mystery and his arrogance to Brother Vance's, I don't even know what you call it, whatever they did to him.
I hate Brother Vance.
It was awful.
I hate Brother Vance.
I know, but I loved him in D1, so it would be nice to see that redeemed somehow. Even if they I would love to see cuz you know how you can go to the lighthouse on Mercury right now?
Yeah.
I would love for them to just actually Brother Vance was just a fool, just demoralize him even more than he already.
He's pretty demoralized.
And just be actually that wasn't the lighthouse. He was just trying to be cool and say it was the lighthouse so he could look cool like he was at the lighthouse, but that's not really the lighthouse. Y'all need to go over here.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because it seems like something he would do now.
He's a douchebag.
Oh yeah. So that's it for this. Did we have any other community questions?
No, I kind of tried to work. Oh, we did. We did have one more. It's about
Okay.
Stadia, and we kind of covered the answer to it, but I forgot it was in there. DV, aka CK, said Stadia. I'm in KC on Google Fiber via Ethernet and have had horrid input lag and audio delays. Enough for Rumble, but it feels like I'm swimming in molasses. Have you all been able to actually play at full speed / resolution so far? And I just want to point out and ask if you were doing it through the Chromecast on a TV, because like I said, Destiny did not feel great to me. Changing to Ultra HD setting and turning on game mode did make a big difference, but it still felt off. But playing right on my PC, or I would assume playing on your phone if you have a Pixel, would feel the same because it's still just a Chrome browser, felt really good. But the fact that he mentions the audio delays and input lag both, that's exactly what I experienced.
Interesting.
And it wasn't all the time either. The input lag was, but there were times where, like I said, it would almost not take my input for a while. I had to reset, stop pressing forward and then press forward again.
That's so weird. I wonder what that is. But yeah, I haven't experienced any of that yet. So I'm excited to mess around with it some more and just see what it feels like. I kind of want to do it after this podcast, but there's also PUBG stuff to check out. So
yeah, you told me you'd play PUBG with me.
I did. Do you have anything else?
Do you remember that time you told me I was your best friend?
Is that the time were we watching I Love Lucy together when I said that? Was that what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good day.
That never happened.
Okay, this is getting weird. If you've enjoyed listening to this episode, you should be sure to subscribe and rate us on iTunes.
And check out my YouTube video,
Hov
76 on YouTube.
YouTube video, yeah. Speaking of where you can find us, though, you can find me Lego, aka Legoli Flash, on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube at Lego LE Flash, maybe on Stadia soon at Lego LE Flash. We'll see. Hov, where can they find you?
You don't know what your Stadia is going to be yet.
I don't yet. No.
You can find me. I'm Hov. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, both at Hov 76. Obviously, every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern on Twitch, we do this podcast. If you didn't know that, we try to talk to chat. We take some community questions from Twitter and from our Discord, which you should join. We've had even before Stadia this week, we had a good number of people flooding in the last week or so, and it's starting to get a little lively. It's a good time. Also, I guess I have a YouTube now. It's also Hov 76. Maybe I'll make another video. I don't know.
Yeah, let's do it. Update us. How's Stadia going?
But either way, also, I got my founder's name. If you're on Stadia, I'm just Hov. H-O-V. I got it.
It's awesome.
So, yeah, that's all the places you can find me chilling.
Well, you can also find Team Resolute, the clan that we're all out of. A lot of them have hopped on Stadia at Team Resolute. If you're looking for people to play with, look at RezoCast on Twitter, and you can join our Discord there to find some people to play with. And if you like what you've been hearing, not only can you subscribe, but you can get yourself a pair of these microphones and headphones at bluemic.com. And use code RezoCast at checkout for that 20% off. And I think that's it for this week. Excited about everything to come. Excited about talking about more Stadia next time and talk about how this final assault evolves, hopefully we won't see as much complaining. Hopefully there will be some new stuff or a cutscene like we talked about. But until next time, everyone, GG.
Bye.
Peace. I had Ed Wilson's in there.
That's fair. All right, chat. Thanks for hanging out. We're going to go do some things, but we appreciate you, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.